healing expression is not about forcing confidence. It's about unlearning fear, remembering this natural state and tapping into that energy and showing up by choice to choose our authentic expression, knowing that authenticity is polarizing. That the people that are meant for us will gravitate towards us when we are aligned and expressing who we are without judgment of how we're showing up for others. And it will repel the people that are not meant to be in our lives, that don't align with us. And this is okay. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Gabby Rosalie podcast, a platform devoted to expanding our lives by connecting to the wisdom of the collective. Through relatable discussions on topics like communication, connection, leadership, science, and spirituality, we offer revolutionary perspectives and practical tools for creating positive change, right here, right now. But I don't want this to be some stiff lecture hall-esque vibe, so we make it fun, raw, and real. With expert guests and relatable conversations, my goal is to inspire you to break through limitations and remember that it is possible to live a life you're excited to wake up to every day. Thank you for being here and enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day so far. I have had a lot on my plate the last couple of weeks, so I did not release an episode last Monday. I actually started a new job last week, which was an unbelievably blessed, answered prayer opportunity, magical, aligning moment. And I'm feeling really, really excited. I'm working with a public speaker who is based in Toronto, and he's awesome, really great guy, really cool. Love his personality, his work ethic, and the things that he's doing, but he's in my exact line of work. So I am learning so much from him. I enjoy working with him so much. And it's just one of those moments in my life where I have to praise God and really remind myself that when I am patient and I believe and trust and put my faith in divine timing and allow myself not to control every aspect of my life, that things come to me even better than I ever could have imagined. So really just want to open up today's episode with an answered prayer, a praise God moment, because really, really feeling good about that. And then it is not official yet. But I have a lease sitting in my inbox right now that I have to look over and have to comb through with a really fine-tooth comb, because this kind of stuff is just oh my God, I feel like I need to know every minor detail before I sign my name on any form of a contract whatsoever, because I'm realizing lately that I have a little bit of a commitment issue if I don't have a backup plan when I'm signing myself up for a long-term commitment, time-wise, financial-wise, blah, 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 blah. So I have a lease in my inbox for a place in Chicago, and I think I'm probably going to be moved out there by the beginning of May. This is not official. I have not really shared this news with many people at all, so you guys are the first to hear about it. And if on the next episode I'm crashing out and I share with you guys that this is not going down, you'll be here through it all, through the roller coaster. But a lot going on right now. And business is good. Business is good. Life is good. Relationships are full and fulfilling and abundant. And I just led a free workshop on Wednesday about communicating with confidence. And it was all about showing up fully, being able to speak from a place of authenticity and really standing in who you are as a person and using your voice as an opportunity to express who you are and doing so with confidence. So we talked a lot about preparing for conversations, stepping into confident energy, kind of creating this magnetic vibe and energy to you that we feel from confident people. When we think of somebody that is confident, we remember that it's an energy, it's not a skill, but it can be developed, and it can be an energy that we attune ourselves to based on the things that we feed ourselves, our body language, and really the practices that we put into play behind the scenes. So what we're going to do today in our episode is go over that workshop as if I am leading you in a beautiful space, and you are here to play with your voice and show up and step into your most authentic expression and give yourself the permission slip to enjoy the next couple of minutes connecting to who you are and your expression. There's going to be a bunch of journal questions incorporated into this episode today. And I am going to put a journal prompt sheet, like a worksheet, tagged in the episode description that will take you guys to all the free worksheets that I have created for episodes thus far. I think it's only like 3 at this point. But yeah, you guys will be able to find those journal prompts. And I hope you enjoy today's episode. Thank you for being here. I love you so much. For those of you guys that do not know, I am a speaker, a workshop facilitator, and a one-to-one mentor. I call myself a leader of human connection, and that's because all of the work that I do is centered around deeply connecting to yourself, your gifts, your strengths, and actualizing them into your business ventures, into your relationships, and really bringing the best of you out into the world so that not only are you feeling fulfilled, but you are reaping intimate connections with the people around you. You're grounding your vision into action, and you're communicating with confidence. You are showing up authentically, but you are connecting deeply, because I think that is a really, really beautiful combination and kind of like the equation for a fulfilling life. Connecting to your potential, loving who you are, knowing who you are, and then sharing that person with other people. So that's a little bit about what I do. But today we are going to play with our voices. We're going to talk about limiting beliefs that are holding us back in our expression, really understand what's going on behind the scenes. And then we're going to practice. We're going to practice connecting to our voice and using body language that's going to allow us to step into that energy of confidence, of that magnetic vibe that is confidence. And then we're going to talk about some tools and some ways to prepare for conversation so that you can show up confidently. So if you're struggling to show up in a meeting, in a boardroom, in a romantic relationship, in conversations with your family members, and you feel like you're quieting yourself or you are not able to show up as who you are with confidence, today's the episode for you. So if you're listening to this, we are going to start out with some breaths because I don't usually do this in my podcast, but it's kind of like a staple to my workshops and my speaking engagements. I always ask that the audience drops into the present moment by connecting to the breath with me before we begin anything that goes deep into the heart, into the spirit. And so we're going to do that right now. So if you're driving, don't close your eyes. But if you are in a space where you can close your eyes, I will invite you to do that. And I'm going to instruct you through a 2-part breath. The first part is going to be an inhale into the belly. The second part, an inhale up into the chest. And then we are going to hold at the top. And here comes the point where we activate our voices. We're going to exhale and allow whatever noise that comes through to naturally come through. So we're going to do that 3 times. So I want you to close your eyes if you're able and follow my voice. Inhale into the belly. Inhale into the chest. Hold. And exhale. Inhale belly. Inhale chest. Hold. Exhale. One more. Inhale, belly. Inhale, chest. Hold. Exhale. The reason I think it's so important to connect to the breath is because the breath is the anchor to the present moment. So if you chose to listen to this podcast, I encourage you to be here and take in the next however many minutes we're having a conversation together fully. A little brain fart there. So I'm going to prompt you guys to talk to me during this episode. I want you to get comfortable with the idea of speaking out loud. If you're alone and you're in your car, let's pretend like we're having a conversation. A big part of communicating confidently is owning your voice. So I want you to think about what it means to you to own your voice. If you're listening to this episode with a friend, chat it out. Pause this episode, chat it out. If you are alone, Give yourself a permission slip to speak out loud. Talk to yourself. That's a big part of how I developed my communication confidence, is because I got extremely comfortable with the sound of my own voice and talking to myself in the mirror, in the car. First, it was a little uncomfortable, a little bit weird, a little bit funky, and then I got used to it, and now it's literally like my favorite thing to do in the world. I'm like my own best friend. I have full-blown conversations with myself. So what does it mean to own your voice? One of my favorite communication mentors, his name is Vin Jiang, and he was actually just on the Diary of a CEO podcast, and he talks a lot about playing with our voices like we play with instruments. Now, if you are listening to this and you play an instrument, when you play your instrument, you don't sit down and say you're going to use your instrument. Use the piano, use the guitar. You play the guitar, you play the piano. And oftentimes when we think about our voices, we think about them like tools that we use. And we forget that we can play with our voices, because these are instruments that we came into the world knowing how to play and having full access to. But oftentimes, just like people who play the piano, we only play with the same 5 keys. And we forget about the 83 keys on the remainder of the piano, our voices in this scenario. And we keep ourselves in this comfort zone, in this container, and we don't explore. We don't allow ourselves to speak in accents or in high-pitched voices or really low-pitched voices. Like, we just don't experiment because that'd be weird. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to encourage you, and I did this in my workshop, and it was so fun to watch people on the other side of the Zoom call. I want you to speak in an accent. I want you to be silly, be goofy. Who cares what it sounds like? I want you to say your name and something that you enjoy doing in an accent. So it's going to sound something a bit like, hello everyone, my name is Gab. Oh, my Siri actually just got activated. That's so silly. Let me turn that off. Hi everyone, my name is Gabby, and I really, really enjoy sailing. I love being out on the open water, and having an amazing crew with you is literally one of my favorite things in the entire world. So if you like, you talk in the British accent. If you like, you talk in a, European, Eastern, like maybe a Russian accent. I don't know. Whatever you're feeling, I want you to play. Play, talk in an accent. Pause this. You introduce yourself in something that you like to do in an accent. And the reason that I ask you guys to do something like this is because playfulness unlocks creativity. Playfulness unlocks confidence. Allow yourself to express without any worry, thought, or expectation about what you sound like or what other people are going to think. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, there's 3 parts to this workshop. In the first part, we have to understand in order to develop that deep-rooted confidence that's going to help us to communicate from a place of, I know who I am and what I want to say and how I want to say it. First part of this workshop is all about freeing yourself from self-doubt and fear. It's about shifting our train of thought to release limiting beliefs holding us back in our expression. And in order to get to this point of shifting those beliefs, we have to understand the brain's role in self-protection and fear of judgment. So many of us think that it is a flaw in who we are if we fear being judged, if we fear being disliked or being rejected. We're like, what does this say about me? Like, I'm just not confident, or I'm insecure. I care too much what other people think. But what I want to let you know, and many of you if you're listening to this podcast, you're smart. You know this. But it's a very, very important reminder that this is not a flaw. This is not in your head. It's primal. It is literally your brain doing its job. Because our brains are programmed to help us survive, not thrive. When we apply conscious awareness and intention to our biological and neurological systems, that is when we thrive. That is when we tap into the energy of abundance. But these systems themselves, not only is the software ancient, like literally ancient, the same software that was being activated when we were being chased by lions or we feared being exiled from the tribes in olden days, is the same system that gets activated when we're in a meeting and our boss rolls his eyes at us when we share an idea. Or when we are with a group of friends and we say something and then everybody laughs under their breath. Like, it's that same system. It's like, oh my God, am I going to be fired? Am I going to be kicked out of the friend group? Is this actual physical danger? The brain does not know. It cannot really perceive the difference between a perceived social threat and actual physical danger. Because again, the programming, it's just doing its job. And there's a lot that goes behind this, and I don't want to sound like an Andrew Huberman podcast, even though it's a great podcast. You guys are smart. You get the gist. The reason I bring this up is because there is good news. There is good news. And it is because of the conscious awareness we can choose to apply to this beautiful, amazing system that we have called the brain. And it is called neuroplasticity. To put it very simply, neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to rewire itself, meaning that you are not stuck in any negative or positive, for that matter, any loop at all. You're not stuck in it. If you can reframe your beliefs and then pair that conscious awareness with, this belief doesn't serve me, I'm going to choose this one instead, and I'm going to practice. I'm going to be so aware of the thoughts that I have and the beliefs that I hold about myself and the connection to how that enforces my expression or how I show up. If I can become aware of that and then choose consciously to program my brain with beliefs that serve me, and then pair that with somatic work, incorporating the intelligence of the body and the spirit, activating those energies and those systems with somatic work like breath work, EFT tapping, dancing, shaking, movement. When we can pair the 3-part system that all of us are, mind, body, spirit, shit is transformational. Transformational. And things like visualization and tapping into emotion with repetition. The feeling body is so important in manifestation. It's so important in our relationships and our understanding of our nature. The feeling body is so important. So when we think about neuroplasticity, if we think about walking on a field of snow in the wintertime and walking back and forth on an area, the more that we walk on said path, the more the snow is packed down, the easier it becomes to travel upon the path. That is exactly what neuroplasticity is in a nutshell. The more that we can train ourselves to believe certain things and rehearse these beliefs, pair them with the feeling body, with somatic work, breathing into them, meditating on them, visualizing ourselves, feeling these emotions that are associated with the beliefs that we're trying to program our brains with, the easier that it becomes to travel that path. And our beliefs then influence our thoughts, which influence our emotions and our behaviors and our habits, yada, yada. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But this takes us out of survival mode and into self-expression. And I just want to mention, again, many of you guys know this, but our past experiences have shaped our expressions. So we have to become aware of the way that we are showing up and how it is different from how we entered the world. Because when we came into this world, our natural state is pure, uninhibited. And if you need a visual representation of this, I want you to think of a toddler dancing. They don't be giving no fucks. They just be moving their bodies. They literally don't care what they look like. They're having a good time and it feels good. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Okay, this is how we all came into the world. In everything that we do, not just dancing. And then we started to receive messages and we started to take notes with our nervous system. If we were in class and our teacher yelled at us for being too loud, if we grew up in a family where we had to keep ourselves small or stay quiet in order to be considered good, if we were yelled at for showing emotion, for crying, if we shared in the 2nd grade about something that we loved to do, like play chess or hang out with our parents, and we got laughed at in front of the whole class, our nervous system takes notes. And what it hears is, oh my God, expression means risk. I better stay small if I want to fit in. I better limit my expression, what I share, how I show up if I want to fit in. Healing expression is not about forcing confidence. It's about unlearning fear, remembering this natural state and tapping into that energy and showing up by choice to choose our authentic expression, knowing that authenticity is polarizing. That the people that are meant for us will gravitate towards us when we are aligned and expressing who we are without judgment of how we're showing up for others. And it will repel the people that are not meant to be in our lives, that don't align with us. And this is okay. So this is the 2nd time we're going to journal. If you have the journal sheet, go ahead and pause this and journal now. And if you're with someone, or if you are listening to this episode with another person, maybe you're, listening to it out loud, I would like for you to really share what came up in that journal entry that you just went into, and talk these things through. I wish that you guys were all a part of that workshop, because it was so powerful. It was so powerful to hear people share vulnerably and uplift each other and empower each other and just share from the heart. And I can't wait to do more of them. But if you're with somebody listening to this episode, do that now. And if you're alone, talk to yourself. I'm my own best friend and my own worst enemy sometimes. You know how I'll be. But yeah, sharing is super, super powerful. All right, second part of this workshop is finding your natural voice and presence. Finding your natural voice and presence to show up and communicate confidently. We're going to go over the 3 C's of confident communication: clarity, cadence, and connection. And clarity is all about knowing what you want to say and how you want to say it. It's not about memorizing every word, showing up and giving a monologue in every conversation that you have. It is about knowing the message that you want other people to walk away with, understanding, feeling, and how you want to show up, the attitude and the intention that you carry into a conversation. This is about clarity. So clarity is kind of like a preparation component that helps you to set intentions that you can follow back while you're in the middle of the conversation, to feel grounded, to speak with purpose, to speak with passion. So before you go into a conversation, if it's a high stakes conversation, or if it's a conversation that is maybe a little difficult for you, or is causing you a bit of stress or anxiety, maybe, it's a meeting or a presentation, or again, maybe it's a difficult conversation you got to have with your spouse or your friend. 4 questions. Number 1, what message am I trying to get across? Number 2, what is my desired outcome? What do I want to happen as a result of having this conversation? That's the second question. What's my desired outcome? Number 3, what attitude do I want to carry into this conversation? This is so important. This is the intention component about the energy you're holding in the space. If you're giving a presentation at work, you might want to be a little bit assertive, or maybe a lot of bit assertive. You want to be confident. You want to be inspiring. You want to be motivating. But if you're having a conversation with a friend who just lost a family member, you might want to be gentle and empathetic. In fact, you definitely want to be gentle and empathetic. So making sure you're setting this intention about the way you're going to show up. And number 4, how will I know this conversation was successful? How will you feel walking away from the conversation? The second C, cadence. If you take anything away from this episode today, I want it to be that you are not in a rush to respond. Silence is power. Owning your voice is just as much about owning your silence as it is owning the actual words that you speak. You are not in a rush to respond. I said this on previous podcasts because Jefferson Fisher is badass and I love him. He says, let your breath be your first word. If you are in a conversation, you're starting to get worked up and you feel emotions bubbling up and you need a moment to compose yourself, take that breath. Take those breaths, 3 breaths, 4 breaths. You're not in a rush. And people who make you feel in a rush, that is a different conversation that you might have to bring up. However, you are on nobody's contract to respond under X amount of seconds or hours. Unless, of course, you got a timer running and you're like in a meeting or whatever. But even then, taking that breath is so important to compose yourself, to make sure that you're saying what you want to say. You mean what you say and you say what you mean. Okay? So a second part of cadence is about the variation in our speech. The speed. If you want to communicate confidently, you want to make an impact, and you want people to be engaged in what it is that you're saying, you need to slow down and you need to speed up. It's all about variation. There's a psychology behind communication, and the more that we can keep people on their toes, variation, the key, slow down, speed up. Play with your volume, get a little bit louder at certain points of the conversation, and then you can slow it down and you can get a little bit quieter and emphasize certain words and phrases that you want people to walk away feeling the impact from. You're telling a story, In a way, communication it's going to look different. If you're on a stage and you're giving a speech to 20,000 people, it's going to look very different. It's going to be a lot bigger and grandiose than if you were having a one-to-one conversation with a loved one. So the second, component of this cadence, it's like, yes, the variation, but it's also the emotional expression. So it's making sure that you're tapping into the way that you're speaking so that you're not sounding monotone and boring, essentially. That's what cadence is all about, as well as the pauses and owning your silence and that you're not in a rush to respond. So that's the second C of confident communication. And the third one is connection. You are not talking at people, you are talking with them. Even if you are on stage giving a speech, you are talking with the audience. The key to this element of confident communication is that it's a conversation. It's not a performance. Even if it is a performance, you have to look at it like it is a conversation, like you are connecting with the people that you're performing for, because human connection is what we all seek. And the receptivity of your audience, of the person on the other end of the conversation, I promise, even if you are the most confident communicator in the world, if you know and you feel that your audience is not receiving what you're saying, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to show up from a place of, I know that what I'm saying is having an impact, because you can feel those vibes. So the more that we can get connected to the people we're talking with by reading the energy and mirroring those vibes, because this is going to help us to feel more comfortable and trust in the impacts and the connection that we're having, the more that we are able to show up from a place of confidence. And here's the thing, that this is under your control to a certain degree. So reading the energy and mirroring the vibes is not about being a chameleon and shape-shifting. It is about choosing the version of your expression that is going to allow you to feel the most comfortable on an equal playing field. Like, if I walked into a funeral home and I started screaming and feeling like I was having the best day of my life and I'm super excited and I'm really joyful and I'm around skipping literally like as other people are crying and feeling really, really down, and it's a quiet environment, this is going to make me feel so uncomfortable. Like, I could do it, but that would not be enjoyable. It would be super, super rigid and uncomfortable for me, and it would just be really tone deaf. So that's what I mean about reading the energy and mirroring the vibes. It's going to help you, and it's going to foster deeper connections with the people you're talking to. And invite dialogue, because this is a conversation. It is not a performance. Invite people into the conversation by sharing what they think, what they feel. It's not all on you to guide this conversation by being the only one who's speaking in it. Invite dialogue to foster those connections. More journal prompts, more opportunities to share. And the third part of this workshop, of this episode, is about magnetic expression. The fact that confidence is an energy before it's a skill, because you can literally feel it. I want you to think of someone that you know, in person, online, that you think is confident. And I want you to think about how they show up. How do they move? How do they speak? What do they look like? What's the energy about them? Like, what do you feel from this person? Why do you think they're confident? Vanessa Van Edwards is another one of my favorite communication, like, honestly, experts, like communication experts. That's what I would call her. She does so much research, and she's just amazing at what she does. And her work is so profound. But she has found that the charisma zone, when people trust us and like us, our degree of likability is like severely increased when we can hit these two things: warmth and competence. If we are only warm and we smile and we're really bubbly, but we don't have clarity and we don't know what we're talking about, people aren't going to trust us. And if we're only competent and we're speaking like robots, like we are know-it-alls and have all the information in the world, but we have no degree of warmth, we don't smile, we don't, allow people to feel welcome in the conversation. This is the danger zone as well. But the charisma zone is when we can be both warm and competent. So this energy of confidence is a balance between the masculine and feminine energy. I gotta sneeze. Oh, God bless me. Okay. And oftentimes when we're not confident in conversation, we tend to shrink or we overcompensate. It can show up on both ends of the spectrum. And shrinking looks like avoiding eye contact, speaking overly softly or quietly, making yourself small, making yourself quiet, fidgeting, like moving around really impulsively and kind of jittery, and like you're twiddling your thumbs or you're looking over your shoulder all the time, or you're avoiding that eye contact, you're flighty, anxious energy, or you're apologizing for taking up space. Okay, this is how our limiting beliefs in holding us back from our expression show up. And on the other end of things, overcompensating is just as palpable. You're rushing through your words, you're over-explaining, you're always dominating the conversation because you feel like in order to be heard, you have to be the loudest one in the room. But confidence, sometimes confidence is quiet. Sometimes it's really loud, high energy, captivating. Sometimes it's really quiet, gentle, at ease, because you don't have to dominate the conversation in order to be taken seriously. And you know that because you know how much value your words and the things that you're sharing hold, that, it's kind of a privilege. It is a privilege to hear what you have to say. So you don't have to overcompensate. True confidence looks like having steady breath, speaking with purpose and passion. This ties back to the clarity component. The steady breath is really just the cadence, not being in a rush to respond. Intentional movement. So being aware of what you're doing with your body while you're speaking and allowing yourself to be at ease. And if you notice yourself not being at ease, relax to the best of your ability. Pausing for words to land. You're not in a rush. Your silence holds a lot of power. So when we think a little bit more about the posture, movement, breath, and eyes of a confident person, we remember that in the posture we are open, not stiff. So you have a straight spine, your shoulders are back, but you are open. You're not robotic or stiff in your structure. Your arms aren't crossed, your legs aren't crossed, you're not making yourself small. You are taking up space in a way that feels natural and organic. If you're moving, it's unrushed and it's intentional. So I'm a big hand talker. I talk with my hands, but my movements are precise and intentional. They're not all over the place. And this is practice. This takes practice. But becoming aware of the way that you show up, the way that you speak, the way that your body feels and is moving, the things that your breath is doing and your eyes are doing, your face is doing, your hands are doing, all of these things that we can become aware of that give us indicators of where we might need to lean into and slow down or speed up or relax or take more control. These are all elements of communication that take practice to become aware of and then to embody a confident expression. So give yourself time and patience. Awareness is the first step. Okay, moving on. Your hands. Rest your hands. Don't clench them into fists, and definitely don't hide your hands behind your back or, under your legs or whatever, because more research done by Vanessa Van Edwards. The people that we speak to, if they see us hiding our hands or they cannot see what is in our hands and they think we're holding something or we're hiding something in our hands, they don't trust us because they think that we're holding on to something or we're hiding something that could potentially be of danger to them. We need to see this openness, not only in our posture, but in our hands, to trust someone. And when people trust us, we can feel that, and it builds our confidence as we're speaking. So do everything that you can, and this requires no amount of confidence. To unclench your hands, all that requires is awareness. That's the cool thing about what we're talking about today, is that, you can reverse engineer this shit. So it's like how to show up like a confident person. Think about what a confident person looks like, and then do that. And then pair that with getting to know yourself, with awareness of your beliefs and the thoughts that are running in your head, and then reprogramming them. Like it's a balance. So think about the breath of a confident person. It is slow and it is controlled. And when you think about eye contact, it's steady, but it's soft. I'm not staring into the pits of your soul like a psychopath. I'm maintaining eye contact, but it's warm and it's soft. And I can look away and I can blink, but I'm not diverting the attention to other things in the room. God forbid you see me, because that's what it means when we can't have eye contact with other people. When we stare at people too long or people stare at us too long, we worry that, oh my God, they're really seeing me. Like they're really looking at me. This is a little uncomfortable. That's why eye gazing is one of my favorite things to do in the workshops that I do in person. But eye contact, steady and soft. And then smile. Smile. Warmth is so big. Warmth is so big to be in the charisma zone, but smiling can help us to attune our systems, our bodies, our energy bodies to the frequency of authentic expression, joy, openness, warmth when we smile. So smile. If you were in the workshop with me, this would be the time where we would actually practice speaking with this posture and these movements and the openness and the breath and the eyes. But we're not in a workshop right now, so if you want to practice that, you can. But the last thing that I want to say to finish up this episode is that the inner dialogue is such an important part about communicating confidently. We have to become aware of how our experiences shape our beliefs, which then shape our thoughts, and then our emotions, and then our behaviors that become our habits, that become our lives. But the best part is that we get to choose which beliefs we reinforce, which influence different thoughts, higher frequency emotions, behaviors that serve us, and a lifestyle that we desire deeply with our hearts, with that unlimited, that pure, uninhibited nature of freedom of expression. And if you really want the cheat code, reverse engineer that shit, like I said before. Think about the habits that a person that is confident has and start to embody those, whether you feel like a total imposter doing them or not. Just do it. Just do it. Nike. All right. Now, the last journal prompts are here right now. So if you're on the worksheet, awesome. Fill those out. But I just want you guys to just sit with this idea of allowing yourself to be seen, with the idea of reintroducing your nervous system to visibility. It takes practice. So the more that you can reintroduce yourself to safety in using your voice, the more that you can speak out loud to yourself in the mirror, in accents, in high-pitched and low-pitched voices, the more that you can share with your friends about your experiences and your emotions, and the more that you get comfortable with the idea of sharing yourself from a place of, this is who I am, take it or leave it, the more that you're going to be able to show up with confidence in any situation. So we're going to do a final embodiment practice. I actually didn't have a chance to do this in my workshop, so we're going to do it together right now. And if you're driving, you can actually still do it while you're driving. But this is a little bit of EFT tapping that we're going to do. And to keep it short and simple, EFT tapping, emotional freedom techniques is what EFT stands for. And it is a somatic practice that helps to rewire the things that we believe about ourselves by tapping certain points on the body that are connected to different meridians and energy centers. And it is a transformational practice, and has really, really changed my life and helped me to step into my most authentic expression. And it's such a beautiful thing to be able to speak to ourselves from a place of empowerment. So we're going to do that. The first point that I want you to tap is the karate chop point on your right hand. And I want you to tap with your left hand's pointer and middle fingers on this karate chop point. And I want you to repeat after me. Even though I've doubted my voice before, I deeply love and trust myself. And if you're not driving, you can close your eyes while you do this. And it's so powerful and it's so healing to hear yourself speak these words of empowerment into yourself. Keep tapping. Even though I've doubted my voice before, I deeply love and trust myself. Now I want you to take your pointer finger and your middle finger of your right hand, and I want you to tap the point below your nose, above your lip, on your Cupid's bow. And repeat after me. I am worthy of being heard. My voice is powerful. I am worthy of being heard. My voice is powerful. And now I want you to take both hands, all 5 fingers of your right and your left hand, tapping on your collarbone area. It is safe for me to use my voice and express myself authentically. It is safe for me to use my voice and express myself authentically. And lastly, you're going to take your right hand, pointer finger, middle finger, and tap on your chin and repeat after me. My voice is a gift, and I love sharing it with the world. My voice is a gift, and I love sharing it with the world. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. This is a practice, and I know that every single one of you has gifts that are unique to the person that you are, and that the world is begging to have you share those gifts. And your voice is an opportunity for you to do that. Your expression is a gift. I love you. I am so grateful for you, and I will see you next time on the Gabby Rosalie podcast.
Hold up now, y'all. Before you head out, I need to say thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode, and most importantly, thank you for making the conscious decision to invest in yourself and expand your mind, heart, and spirit. Because you showed up for you, you are helping others live better lives. Whether you know it or not, you are inspiring others daily. And if you're feeling fired up, keep the domino effect alive and share this episode with someone that you love. If you're feeling extra saucy, leave the show a review because it really helps me out. And come back and hang with me again sometime. New episodes every other Monday at 8 a.m. Keep shining your unique light. I see you, and I love you.